Our next story is about two international treaties that will likely soon be considered by Congress using a controversial voting method known as fast track. If the House and Senate grant fast track authority to President Barack Obama, he'll be able to present Congress with two treaties, the Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement, or TPP, and the Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, or TTIP, for an up or down vote. They won't be able to make any changes. Many people, including elected officials, are very concerned about these treaties. One of them is State Representative Denise Provo. We caught up with her outside City Hall the other day to find out why.
I've spent my entire adult life working for the integrity of government, to protect the taxpayers, and to support the rule of law, and to make sure that government is adopting good and beneficial policies that reflect the overall will of the people. To have our country entering into an agreement that gives foreign investors the right to come in and put their monetary interests over our democratic institutions appalls me.
Representative Provo is talking about the TTIP, a trade agreement between the U.S. and the EU. That and the TPPA, an agreement between the U.S. and 11 countries, are being negotiated in secret.
Both of them enormous trade agreements. I think TTIP alone would cover 43% of the world's trade. The other would sew up most of the rest, although it excludes China at the moment. And the thing about these agreements is they are huge, and their contents are not public except for the bits that have been leaked.
Many elected officials and organizations in the U.S. and around the world oppose the TTIP and the TPPA. And they also oppose fast-track authority, which President Obama wants so he can negotiate the treaties without congressional interference. If they pass, one result would be that more and more corporations would have the right to sue governments through a mechanism called investor-to-state dispute settlement. In recent years, those suits and victories have been increasing.
Let me tell you about a case that was decided just last month under NAFTA. A U.S. company called Bilcon, unfortunate name. If I were a U.S. corporation, I would not choose a name that had both bilk and con in it. But this one did. Anyway, they wanted to do a project in the Bay of Fundy in Canada that involved blasting and construction and stuff like that. And they needed an environmental permit. The province hired some experts to make some recommendations, which they gave to the local government, which denied the permit. So Bilcon brought a claim, and these claims don't go to the courts if the claimant doesn't want to bring them there. They go to a tribunal of trade lawyers. So 3 trade lawyers were appointed, and Bilcon went and said, you know, we weren't treated fairly by Nova Scotia, and if we could have done this project, we could have made a lot of money. And the tribunal, or at least 2 members of the 3, awarded them $300 million in damages for lost profits. And this is a kind of thing I don't want taxpayers in Massachusetts having to pay just because some company with a claim as an international investor doesn't like our permitting processes, doesn't like our laws.
On April 23rd, Representative Provo went to New York City to testify against the TTIP at a meeting organized by the U.S. Trade Representative.
These big agreements the U.S. would enter into, but they would be binding on the states. And the states have not in any respect had involvement in the negotiations, and only to the most limited extent have had input.
As of May 4th, Congress had not yet given the president fast-track authority. To stay on top of this issue, you should certainly read the national newspapers of record, but you should also check websites that give you more than just the mainstream analysis, like commondreams.org, democracynow.org, and truthout.org. And here are 2 other websites with more information.